Okay, we have a special presentation from the Oval Office. This is history in the making here today with U.S. President Donald Trump welcoming in Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney into the Oval Office. And this is in Washington, D.C. First time the two of them have had the opportunity to meet, and they're going to be taking questions from the press. I ask that you please keep your comments on this particular stream as respectful as possible, please. He's going to start talking. Here we go.
I think I was probably the greatest thing that happened to him, but I can't tell you what. His party was losing by a lot, and he ended up winning, so I really want to congratulate him. It was probably one of the greatest comebacks in the history of politics, maybe even greater than mine. But I want to just congratulate you. That was a great election, actually. We were watching it with interest, and I think Canada chose a very talented person, a very good person, because we spoke before the election quite a few times. And it's an honor to have you at the White House and the Oval Office. And if you see the new and improved Oval Office, as it becomes more and more beautiful, with love, handle it with great love, and 24-karat gold, that always helps too. But it's been a lot of fun going over some of the beautiful pictures that were stored in the vaults that were for many, many years, in some cases over 100 years. They were stored in vaults of the great presidents, or almost great presidents, all having a reason for being up, every one of them. So it's very interesting. But I just want to congratulate you, and we had a really great race. I watched the debate. I thought you were excellent, and I think we have a lot of things in common. We have some tough points to go over, and that'll be fine. And we're going to also be discussing Ukraine-Russia, the war, because Mark wants it ended as quickly as I do. I think it has to end. We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not. Well, they've announced.
Seems to be a little jittery from the source in the White House. All the feeds apparently are jamming up a little bit.
And we will stop the bombings, and they have.
Come on now.
Capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore, and that's what the purpose of what we were doing. So that's just news. We just found out about that. So I think it's very, very positive. They were knocking out a lot of ships going, as you know, sailing beautifully down the various seas. It wasn't just a canal; it was a lot of other places. And I will accept their word, and we are going to stop the bombing of the Houthis, effective immediately. And Marco, you'll let everybody know that. Okay? Do you have something to say about that, by the way? It's a pretty big announcement.
Yeah, this was always a freedom of navigation mission. These are, a band of individuals with advanced weaponry that were threatening global shipping, and the job was to get that to stop.
Okay, when's he going to let Mark talk here?
We can stop. And,
what's Mark going to say?
I think it's an important development.
And we'll have maybe before we're going.
Seems pretty cordial so far.
Saudi Arabia.
This is good.
Going to
This is good.
in Qatar, and that'll be, I guess, Monday night. Some of you are coming with us. I think before then we're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets, and I won't tell you on what, but it's going to, and it's very positive. I tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that up. It is really, really positive. And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave. But
let Mark talk.
Important announcements have been made in many years about a certain subject, very important subject. So you'll all be here. Mark, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the edge of my seat, actually. But thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl, much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can grow.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
Wow, he did great.
Is USMCA dead?
No, it was actually very effective, and it's still very effective, but
This feed is not good.
people have to follow it. So, that's been a problem, but people haven't followed it. But it was a transitional step a little bit, and as you know, it terminates very shortly. It gets renegotiated very shortly. But I thought it was a very positive.
They're talking about the USMCA. That's the free trade agreement between Canada and the United States. Is it dead? He said no.
And this was a transitional deal, and we'll see what happens. We're going to be starting to possibly renegotiate that if it's even necessary. I don't know that it's necessary anymore, but it served a very good purpose. And the biggest purpose it served is we got rid of NAFTA. NAFTA was a very unfair deal for the United States. Very, very terrible deal. It should have never been made. It was made many years ago, but it should have never been made.
Mr. President, given the close history of Canada and the United States, would you like to see your first trade deal be with Canada, our neighbors in the north?
I would love that. Look, I have a lot of respect for this man, and I watched him come up in a sense through the ranks when he wasn't given much of a chance, and he ran a really great campaign. He did a really great debate. I think that debate was very helpful. I'm just going to raise my hand. I don't know if that's good or bad. I shouldn't say that. That might hurt you. But no, he ran a really great election, I thought. And yeah,
we're just going to quickly change feeds.
Wow, that is wild. He is really being complimentary here.
No, he ran a really great election, I thought. And yeah, something could happen. Something could happen. Yeah, please.
What's the top concession you want out of Canada? The top concession you want out of Canada?
Concession?
Yes.
Friendship.
But that's not a concession.
No, we're going to be friends with Canada. Regardless of anything, we're going to be friends with Canada. Canada is a very special place to me. I know so many people that live in Canada. My parents had relatives that lived in Canada, my mother in particular. And I love Canada. I have a lot of respect for the Canadians. Wayne Gretzky, I mean, how good, the great one. You happen to have a very, very good hockey player right here on the Capitals, who I have a lot of respect. He is a big, tough cookie, too. He just broke the record, and he's a great guy. And we had the team here, and I got to know a lot of the players. But now Canada is a very special place. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, and Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state.
Here we go. Here comes the big
I
question.
still believe that, but it takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, as a real estate developer, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said, that's the way it was meant to be.
Wonder how the markets are responding.
I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it's.
Here we go. Mark's got something to say.
Wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But The opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low, and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
What would it take to get the tariffs off of Canada?
Well, we'll be talking about different things. Like, we want to protect our automobile business, and so does Mark. But we want to make the automobiles, and we want to, we have a tremendous abundance of energy, more than any country. We have, just in Alaska alone, ANWR has been reopened now. ANWR is probably the largest find anywhere in the world. They say it's larger than Saudi Arabia. I don't know, but it's a lot. But we have tremendous amounts of energy. Other countries don't. We're both lucky in that way. They have energy. We have energy. We have more than we can ever use and more than we could ever sell, actually. And you have the same thing. So we're two countries that are very lucky. If you look at China, they don't have that. It's a big disadvantage. Other countries, most countries don't have. Most countries don't have that. So Canada and us, we have a lot of advantages over other places.
Oy, oy, oy. Media's crazy.
Mr. Carney just said that Canada is not for sale. Does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, Canada loves us, and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens.
James.
Mr. President,
China.
I was hoping you can clarify something. Earlier this morning on Capitol Hill, Secretary Bessent said that there had been no negotiations yet with China. You have said something different.
They want to meet, and they're doing.
Okay, so he's talking about the U.S. and China here. This is in Washington. Mark Carney's first visit to U.S. President Trump. Very cordial, very friendly so far.
And
even the talk on the 51st state is
China on trade because of an incompetent president that we have.
Trump basically said never say never.
You're finding it out more.
I still
and more
think
now.
it's probably a negotiation tactic. It is very, very friendly.
So we're saving $1 trillion. It's a lot, but they want to negotiate and they want to have a meeting, and we'll be meeting with them at the right time.
But you haven't met with them yet.
I have not met with them. Of course, you would know if I met. I'd tell you. They want to meet, but we are right now. Look, they're suffering greatly. Their economy.
Mark Carney, for what it's worth, said Canada is never for sale, just like the White House or Buckingham Palace is not for sale. He's met with Canadians, and they have told him Canada is not for sale.
And they were making. We had a trade imbalance. We had a deficit, or they had a surplus. Another way of saying it, of more than $1 trillion. Think of it, more than $1 trillion.
Okay, he's talking about China now.
Because of 145%, that's the only reason, but because of, they have now...
Talk about us, talk about Canada.
There's no trading, you can't trade with 145%. We are, therefore, making, in a certain way, I guess, $1.1 trillion. In other words, we're not losing $1.1 trillion. Our deficit is much better. When I started, I say we were losing billions of dollars a day on trade. That's rapidly turning around. We looked at numbers this morning. So we were losing the.
What made me think this was going to be short?
Was losing more.
I knew this was going to be
I
long.
won't even give you numbers because they're so embarrassing.
Blah blah blah. I want to hear Mark Carney.
A day.
One of the few times I would probably ever say.
Those numbers are rapidly.
He's done very well.
The tariffs, don't
He's
forget.
done very well. Been very cordial. They've been very nice to each other.
25% on aluminum.
If you're just tuning in the stream,
steel, and maybe
it's been good so far.
He's
just going on blah 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 about China.
Into the United States. Honda, We have tremendous, the car companies that are
He's going through his greatest hits package
never
now.
seen before.
Danny's greatest hits on
Ever
KTEL.
made in the United States is being made right now.
List of companies.
Dollars. I would say we could be at $9 trillion. You could go back to other presidents. They haven't had
Oh
$1
my
trillion
God.
for their entire term. Look at Biden. He had
Can we get back to
bad
us?
numbers. People were leaving. They weren't coming in. They were leaving with Biden, and he didn't know the difference. The only thing he knew is people coming in.
Someone should have a stopwatch, see how long he talks versus how much Mark Carney talks. I think it wouldn't even be close.
From
Donnie is just,
all sorts of places that
giving her
from
here.
Gangs from Venezuela.
oh my God. He goes from one topic to another. Come on.
11,000.
You got a guest, man. You've got a guest in your house.
And at least half of them murdered, more than one person. This is what Biden led into our country. I'm bringing in big companies. We have Apple is investing $500 billion. We have Jensen, as you know, is going to be 500 biggest chip maker, or chip thinker, I call him. He's really a thinker more than a maker. But we also have the maker, Mr. Wei. I get to know them all in the last, it was a cram course. But they're all moving into America because of the
Oh, my God.
tariffs. And the
Okay, let's go back to Mark.
people have appreciated it. Some people do. Some of the smart people do. So we have more money coming in. It's really an amazing thing. We have more money being invested. in the
Okay,
United
seriously,
States now
though,
than
you've
at
got a
any time
guest. For
ever
God's sake,
before in
man,
our
take a
history,
breath.
And it's not even close. And I think the real number could be 9 or 10 trillion. We don't know everybody that's doing it. We have many. I just heard about a plant that's being built right now, a very, very top of the line company. And they didn't come to the White House. They're just doing it because they're making it, because if they build here, there are no tariffs. And this is the big market.
Okay,
This is the market that sets us
seriously.
apart from it. This is the market where everyone wants to be. Now, if I didn't come here and do this,
This has been a
all of
waste of
sudden we
time.
wouldn't be the market where everyone wants to be.
He's
So
just
we're able
blabbing
to
on. He's
do it in
hogging the
time.
microphone.
But we're gonna
I
have
think
a
he
great
knows how
announcement, and I'm not
contentious
necessarily
this
saying it's okay.
meeting is. It's
Going
being
to the
widely
beginning,
covered
we're
by
gonna have a
U.S.
great
media this
announcement over the
morning.
next few days, an announcement that will be so incredible, so positive.
He
And I'm
knows
not
he's got
saying I
huge
don't want
coverage
you to
right now, and he's
necessarily
teasing
have
something
today.
else coming down the pipe.
Just to finish, we also have
Just to finish,
a situation, because everyone says, when are you going to sign deals? We don't have to sign deals. We could sign 25 deals right now, Howard, if we wanted. We don't have to sign deals. They
oh
have
my
to sign
God, if they
deals
cut
with us.
this off,
They want a piece of our market.
if they
We
cut
don't
this
want a
off
piece of
right
their
away,
market.
this
We
is a
don't care about
big
their
nothing burger.
They want a piece of our market. So we can just sit down, and I'll do this. at
Oh,
some point
my
over the
God.
next 2 weeks, and I'll sit with Howard and Scott and with our great vice president, who has done.
Someone bring in some liquors. Bring in some. He should have come with a bottle of wine. They should have cracked it open.
JD will be there.
Some good
and
Niagara
Marco.
Falls grapes.
We're going to sit down and we're going to put very fair numbers down, and we're going to say,
Come on.
here's what this country, what we want, and congratulations, we have a deal. And they'll either say, great, and they'll start shopping, or they'll say, not good. We're not.
He
gonna
went
do
on
that."
for like
That's
10
okay, you
minutes.
don't have to shop. Now, we may think.
Thankfully, if you're
well,
watching this
right,
later, you
know,
can just like
maybe
fast
we're
forward
a
it.
little bit wrong, so we'll
Oh my
adjust it.
God.
And then you people will say, oh, it's so chaotic. No, we're flexible. But we'll
Okay,
sit
that's
down,
enough.
And we'll, at some point, in some cases, we'll sign some deals. It's much less important than
Take
what I'm
another
talking
question,
about.
please.
For the most part, we're just going to put down a number and say, this
Take
is what
another
you're gonna
question,
pay.
man. Stop. You
It's
got
gonna
to
be a
take
fair
another
number. It'll be
question.
low
Take a
number. We're
breath.
not looking to hurt countries. We want to help countries. We want to be friendly with countries. But you keep writing about deals. When are we going to sign? When? It's very simple. We're going to say, in some cases,
They're
we
writing
want you
about
to
it because
open
you
up
said
your
you're the
country.
deal maker, man.
In some cases, we want you to drop your tariffs. I mean, India, as an example, is one of the highest tariffs in the world. We're not going to put up with that. And they've agreed
Oh,
already
my
to drop
God.
it. They'll drop it to nothing. They've already agreed. They would have never done that for anybody else but me. So
I'd like to hear my
we're gonna
Prime
put down
Minister
some
talk.
numbers, and we're going to say
Maybe he'll get a chance to talk. Maybe. I mean, it is his
and
house.
They're going to come in, and they're going to.
I
pay
think
for
I
the
probably
privilege
talked
of
my
being
company's
able
ear
to,
off, too.
Shop in the United States of America. It's very simple. It's very simple. So I wish they'd keep, stop asking how many deals are you signing this week, because one day we'll come and we'll give you 100 deals, and they don't have to sign. All they have to do is say, "Oh, we'll start sending our ships right now to pick up whatever we want or to bring whatever we want." It's very, very simple.
Oh, my
I think
word.
people haven't made it clear. We will sign some deals, But much bigger than that is
Yeah, he's chewing up time. He's playing for time here.
shop in the United States. Think of us as a super luxury store, a store that has the goods. You're going to come and you're going to pay a price.
And he's the Walmart
We're
manager.
going to give you a very good price. We're going to make very good deals, and in some cases we'll adjust. But that's what it
Sometimes
is.
we'll lower our
And,
prices.
we've been ripped off by everybody.
I wonder if
for
Mark is
50 years.
sleeping next to him. Is he napping? Well, we were worried that there was going to be a Zelensky. I think this is how to put your company to sleep. Is really what this is. This is a lesson in how. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now we're going to get some questions. Okay. Too many questions.
On the Houthis, can you tell us a bit more about the deal that you've reached with the Houthis that you
No,
mentioned?
it's not a deal. They've
Oh, my
said,
God.
Please don't bomb us anymore, and we're not going to.
What about Canada? We get no respect. What about a question for us?
Right here, the very good source, I could tell you. Very, very good source. Would you say, Marco? I would say
Oh,
pretty
please.
good, right, JD? A very good source. They don't want to be bombed anymore, you know. I sort of thought that would happen. Behind you, please.
Clarifying something you said on USMCA, is the U.S. prepared to walk away from that pact?
For what fact?
USMCA.
No, it's fine. It's there. It's good. We use it for certain things. It's there. We have the USMCA is a good deal for everybody. I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person.
She's still in his cabinet.
Really hurt that deal very badly.
I don't think I would.
She tried to take advantage of the deal and
Chrystia
get
Freeland.
away with it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so we had a bad relationship having to do with the fact that we disagreed with the way they viewed the deal, and we ended it. We ended.
Note
that
to self: don't send Chrystia Freeland to
relationship
Washington.
Pretty much. The USMCA is great for all countries. It's good for all countries. We do have a negotiation coming up over the next year or so to adjust it or terminate.
True. It's up for negotiation in 2026.
I'll say a word on USMCA if I may, Mr. President. It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change. And part of the way you've conducted these tariffs has taken advantage of existing aspects of USMCA. So it's going to have to change. There's other elements that are come, and that's part of what we're going to discuss.
Right.
During the campaign, Prime Minister Carney talked about the American betrayal. How do you react if Canada decided not to shop in the American store as much as before and decided to partner with other countries?
Well, we don't do much business with Canada from our standpoint. They do a lot of business with us. We're at like 4%, and usually those things don't last very long. We have great things, great product. The kind of product we sell, nobody else can sell, including military. Look, we make the best military equipment in the world, and Canada buys our military equipment, which we appreciate. But we make the best military equipment in the world by far. The missiles, the submarines. Everything we have is really top notch. I rebuilt our military during our last term. Stupidly, we gave some away to Afghanistan, which shouldn't have happened. But that was, I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. It was just very incompetent people. But if you look, the man that's now the head of our Joint Chiefs, he led the attack on ISIS for me. That's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And Raisin Kane, he was unbelievable. And as you know, we defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. And he ran the campaign. I said, I like him. But I knew him before. I went to Iraq, and we agreed to a plan, and that was the plan. And as you know, we did it in record time. So we have the best equipment in the world. We have the best, a lot of things. But Canada, it does a lot more business with us than we do with Canada. Yeah.
Your investments, Mr. President, when do you think the investments that you've announced, the trillions, will finally hit the economic data this year?
When you're saying about the tariffs?
No, about the investments that you've announced. You've announced.
Oh, it's hitting right now. Look, they're already starting AI plants. These are not people that look for financing. That's a good thing. In real estate, you get a site, then you have to look for financing, you have to get your zoning, 5 years later you start building, you get a bank, then the bank's no good. These people have massive amounts of cash, The CHIPS Act was a ridiculous thing because that doesn't get them to.
There's a lot of domestic questions posed to the U.S. president, not a whole bunch of questions about Canada.
Billions, we give them billions of dollars. They don't even have to do anything with it. And then if you weren't, if you didn't have, and I don't want to be.
The Prime Minister said that Canada is not for sale, just like the White House is not for sale, just like Buckingham Palace is not for sale. Donald Trump, by the way, is a fan of Buckingham Palace and the royal family. Likely why one of the reasons why the king will come and deliver the speech from the throne later on this month.
Nobody can get these people to do anything.
And so he's just blabbing around, blabbing on about domestic issues and stuff that he wants to get across to a domestic audience.
He's building his library in Chicago. It's a disaster.
And not much to do with Canada.
Something to the effect, I only want DEI.
However, it's pretty widely understood he does not like Justin Trudeau and he does not like Chrystia Freeland.
I don't know. It's a disaster. And I don't like
Justin is no more. Chrystia Freeland, though, is still part of the Carney government.
He's got a library that's a disaster. And he wanted to.
Yeah, Molly's right. He's just wasting time. I think that they have set aside time for this press conference, and he's just chewing up as much time as he can.
I love those construction workers. But he didn't want construction workers. He wanted people that.
Poor Mark Carney. He's just had to sit through all this, sitting there.
Like millions of dollars, many, I mean, really.
Even Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance are ready to fall asleep.
And I would love to help him with it. Or
Fireside Stories with Uncle Donnie.
But it was not built in a professional manner. By the way, nor was in California. A little train going from San Francisco.
Oh, no, J.D. Vance wants in.
Los Angeles.
J.D. Vance wants in. This is when it came off the rails with Zelensky. Oh, God, are we going to let Vance talk?
That train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. It's like totally out of control. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. We'll stop 25 miles short. And we won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles short. It's hundreds of billions.
Literally no questions for Carney. Zero.
Project that should have never been
what is it? 3 or 4 questions about Canada.
That it would have been a lot less.
3, maybe 4. That's it.
Service
this thing has been going on for
3. They would have saved hundreds of billions of dollars. They have airplanes that go there for 1/100th the cost, and they have cars. They have a thing called the highway that goes back and forth. That's not fully utilized, and they got involved with this project. And Gavin, I always liked Gavin. I had a good relationship.
Oh, this is
with him.
awful.
I just got him a lot of water. I sent in people to open up that water because he refused to do it. And we just got him a lot of water. If they would have had that water, and if they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have had the fires in Los Angeles. Those fires would have been put out very quickly. But if you think about it, and you got to take a look at this, it's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people.
Well, this is really, really crazy. There have been like 3 or 4 questions for our new Canadian Prime Minister. He arrived well over half an hour ago.
Government is not going to pay.
And really has not said a whole ton. Donald has really kind of monopolized the conversation. I don't know who's surprised by that, but
we're not going to pay.
I just wanted to make sure that we were not Zelensky'd, as it were.
This is something that.
However, J.D. Vance, it appears, wants to get in on the conversation right away here, and we're going to find out, I think.
30 times over budget. 30 times. It's the craziest thing I've.
He just doesn't stop. He's got full Energizer batteries in him today.
I think the media should take a look at it.
Oh.
And I'd love him to run for president on the other side.
See, it's just nothing to do with Canada. Very, very little.
He's going to be running because
to do with Canada.
One project alone. Well, that and the fires and a lot of other things.
Okay, please.
Pretty much put him out of the race.
Like to see to the USMCA, or what changes would you like to make?
We're going to work on some subtle changes, maybe. I don't even know if we're going to be dealing with the USMCA. We're dealing more with concepts right now. Look, right now, we're doing trade. We have trade. They're paying a tariff on cars and steel and aluminum, and I think we have a baseline of 10% or something like that for the tariffs. But we're getting along very well right now. Going no further, but we have an agreement. We did something with even parts. You want to discuss that, Howard, with respect to Canada, which helps Canada out?
Sure. So we've made an arrangement with the car companies.
Ooh, bad audio.
%. of their USMCA parts are included, and then 15% of foreign parts from the manufactured suggested retail price are not tariffed to help domestic manufacturing really thrive.
So it gave them a chance to be able to build their car parts factories if they're going to. A lot of these companies already have factories, and what they have to do is just fill them out. But they're able to build them in the United States, so we gave them a pretty substantial period of time.
Just to clarify, Mr. President, is there anything the Prime Minister can say to you today to change your mind on tariffing Canada?
Tariffing cars?
Tariffing Canada. Is there anything he could say to you in the course of your meetings with him today that would get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No.
Why not?
Just the way it is.
What do you, if Canadians don't want it, would you respect that?
Sure, I would. But this is not necessarily a one-day deal. This is over a period of time they have to make that decision. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may. If respectfully, Canadians' view on this is not going to change on the 51st state. Secondly, we are the largest client of the United States in the totality of all the goods. So we are the largest client of the United States. We have a tremendous auto sector between the two of us, and the changes that made have been helpful. 50% of a car that comes from Canada is American. That's not like anywhere else in the world. And to your question about is there one thing? No, this is a bigger discussion. There are much bigger forces involved, and this will take some time and some discussions, and that's why we're here, to have those discussions, and that is represented by who's sitting around the table.
See, the conflict is, and this is very friendly. We're not. This is not going to be like we had another little blow up with somebody else. That was a much different. This is a very friendly conversation.
He does not like Justin Trudeau.
We want to make our own
I don't think that comes as a surprise.
Cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're not going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair. But why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year, or whatever the number might be? It's a very substantial number. And it's hard for the American taxpayer to say, gee whiz, we love doing that. Thank you very much. We're going to have a very...
Whoa. That was really a nothing burger. Holy cow. Mark Carney, basically, he got to answer like three things. That's it. The takeaways from the press conference, well, thankfully there was no Zelensky. There was no shouting matches. J.D. Vance tried to get in. They didn't let him in to do any kind of talking. So there was no explosion. That's good. 51st state question came up. And the question from the media was, would you respect the will of the Canadian people if they said they did not want to be part of America? He said, of course he would. However, he's playing the long game. This is a long period of time. Things could change. And he said, never say never. Also, there were a lot of questions about USMCA, and while there's some curiosity as to, we thought that there was a possibility that he was trying to push for a renegotiation of our free trade agreement. It appears he's happy with it. Why wouldn't he be? He's kind of violated it as it stands right now, but he didn't seem to be in any big hurry to renegotiate it. So basically, Mark Carney got to speak 3 times. He got to tell him to his face, we are not interested in being the 51st state. Canada is not for sale. And that our relationship is, valuable, steeped in tradition, and he agreed. So generally pretty cordial. I think a lot of the good stuff is going to happen behind closed doors. I am just glad that the stuff in front of the cameras is over. I think the big headline here is Donnie he took all the air out of the room. The guy sucked every bit of oxygen out of the room. Mark didn't even get a chance to speak. There will likely be a post-meeting press conference, which I don't think we'll live stream because it'll just be more Donnie talking, but there was really not a whole lot in this thing. I figured maybe we would have something substantial happen, something historic, but it is good that our Prime Minister and U.S. President have had a chance to get together and have a little chat. They're going to have a luncheon. Your people meet our people. We'll get together. We'll have some Cheetos. It'll be fantastic. And I will see you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on the show about food, fun places, and the mayhem of life. And there will be very little to talk about on this. It was kind of a nothing burger. Too much Donnie. Back to your regularly scheduled craziness. Enjoy your Tuesday, okay?